Alright, so for simplicity's sake, this review is going to be broken down into 4 different parts. Story, quest structure, performance, and conclusion/final thoughts. Now, I will say right now that this review is going to be an in-depth breakdown of the entire quest, so obviously there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you do not want the sacrifice to be spoiled for you, this is your chance to click off right now, and you can't say I didn't warn you later. Alright, good. So real quick, let's begin with breaking down the initial story itself. Sacrifice begins with you suddenly being able to hear the Lotus's voice calling you out in your head. After inspecting the Lotus helmet left behind by the Apostasy prologue, you see a vision of Excalibur Umbra being confronted by Ballast and a squad of sentients. Umbra holds his own until he is undone by a mysterious super sentient. You go to the location where you believe you saw the events happen, in which you did, and find Umbra parts scattered across the field. You assemble these parts in order to hope to find some traces of where Ballast is hidden. After creating an Umbra blueprint, you realize that you need more data in order to actually build him. After some puzzle solving and scavenging, you find the device left behind by Ballast. After loading the device into Ortis, he is upgraded and repaired to the point that he can actually make a usable blueprint to rebuild Umbra. Quick note, I really appreciate that they made Umbra really easy to make. This prevented the story from coming to a complete halt and having to go grind out some rare resources. So you build Umbra, equip him, and lo and behold the Warframe goes completely berserk and attacks you. After entering Umbra's mind via transference, you're taken to a sort of memory sequence. In this memory sequence, you are in a first-person view of someone who is basically mute and vegetated, who is also restrained. At your bedside is Ballast sitting casually next to you, talking to you, and on the opposite end is your son who has been watching over you. It's immediately clear that Ballast is up to something because he secretly talks to you through your mind, telling you how sooner or later your son is going to be killed. Upon waking up from this memory sequence, you realize that those were memories of Umbra. So with that event, your mission focus turns from having to find Ballast to having to find Umbra. You track him down a couple times in the different areas to get more memory sequences. Through these memory sequences, you gradually find out what happened to Umbra, and the last official explanation as to how a Warframe is made. It is revealed Warframes are basically humans who were infected with a hybrid version of the infested. Some volunteered to be turned into Warframes, others not so much. Umbra was one of the cases of not so much. You eventually decide to confront Umbra as yourself and help him ease his mind and help him get over the fact that he was forced to kill his son. In what I can only describe as a beautiful cutscene, you and Umbra accept each other and achieve full transference. You two fight your way to extraction, and congratulations, you now have Umbra and his weapon fully available. So with your new Warframe in hand, you track down Ballast and confront him where it all began. In this mission, you and Umbra cooperatively fight Ballast's sentience and defeat him with a nice poke to the stomach. After a stern talking to, the super sentient comes from the sky, revealing itself to be Lotus in her true sentient form. She picks up Ballast's maybe dead body and flies away into deep space, thus concluding the quest. Overall, the story managed to go above and beyond my low expectations. I took my own advice of not getting overhyped and was rewarded with the game basically looking at my low expectations and saying, hold my beer. I'm really glad that we can finally close the book on how a Warframe is made and how it ticks. One thing that was pretty obvious was how Umbra was kind of hand-fisted into the quest. Steve himself even confirmed that Umbra was not originally supposed to be in the quest, but honestly I think the quest is only made better for it. The quest would have worked just fine even if Umbra wasn't part of it, but now that when you try to imagine what the quest would have been like without Umbra, it would have been a lot shorter than people are already complaining it was. Hunting down Umbra may have been a little tedious for the memory sequences, but they were short and easy to get through, thus not slowing down the flow of the quest and storyline. Overall, I think Sacrifice is probably going to leave the biggest impression on most players, unlike War Within, which was pretty much forgotten after like a month. It's a great quest that develops the operator as more of a character than just a plot device, and starts a whole new story regarding the Lotus. After keeping everything to mind, I decided to give the story a solid 8.7 out of 10. Now let's talk about the structure of the quest, the missions, the pacing, the flow, etc. I loved the structure of this quest. As I think I said before, there really wasn't ever a point where I thought this quest was quote-unquote wasting my time. Other than looking for codes for the vault or chasing down Umbra for the memory sequences, there was never really a point where the pacing felt like it was coming to a crawl. And once again, I really appreciated that they make Umbra dirt cheap to make in the mid-sequence. This kept the story from being grinded to a halt from someone not having enough resources. I personally struggled with the Vault cipher a little bit just because I didn't find the instructions helpful at all, but I had a lot of people reading at me that it was actually really easy and I was just a dumbass, so it might have just been me personally struggling with it. Also, the fight sequences against Umbra with your operator was kind of a pain due to the fact that Umbra tends to stun lock the ever-living crap out of you. If you're a player who hasn't done much with your operator or your amp, you're going to have a really hard time getting Umbra's shield down, let alone staying alive long enough to do it. My best advice to DE if they wanted to make any tweaks to this quest would be to lower Umbra's aggression levels when you're in operator mode, but that's just my opinion. Overall, this quest was structured very well and was definitely a huge improvement from the second Dream in War Within. There was never a slowdown, there was never a point where things started to feel like it was getting really tedious. Structure gets an easy 9 out of 10. Finally, performance. It goes to show that patience does a long way in the end. DE deciding to delay the quest a couple more days was honestly a really good idea considering that there was very little issues that I personally had. Now, I can only speak from my own personal experiences, but the quest performed pretty much without a hitch. Except for the very end. Yeah, I can't do nothing. So, Valis, how you doing? It's nice weather we got here. Moon's looking nice. Trees on fire. So close. So close to not having a bug. So close. Other than that little hiccup, I didn't really run into a single problem. However, I will say that I have noticed a glitch where people get stuck as Umbra mid-quest, long before you're supposed to get him. Said glitch was featured in one of Quiet Shy's recent videos. Let me know if you got that glitch and how it affected you in your quest. But aside that apparent glitch and the little hiccup at the end, I didn't run into a single problem, or at the very least something that would have rendered the quest absolutely broken. Performance gets a solid 8.5 out of 10. Finally, my conclusion. Overall, The Sacrifice was a really good quest. Now remember, this is all based on my own personal opinions and experiences. If you loved this quest or hated it, that's completely fine and up to you. The Sacrifice was an amazing quest that raised as many questions as it answered, thus further expanding the universe. In my opinion, the ending wasn't really meant to be satisfying or whatever a lot of you were expecting. More so, it just left us really anticipating the next quest to come in the future. If there's anything I really did love about this quest was how damn rewarding it was. Prior to the quest release, me and a lot of my friends were making casual jokes about how tedious and unbelievably grindy getting Umbra or his weapons would have been, or what new painful game mechanic or grindfest was going to be introduced that would have made farming his parts absolutely a nightmare. But no, instead you are rewarded with the complete Warframe, Catalyst, and fully leveled. Same goes for his weapon. This was honestly the first time in a long time I felt like DE was saying something along the lines of "thank you for playing our game." I covered this before in a previous video, but something that Warframe has been seriously lacking for almost years now is a sense of accomplishment or reward. Warframe shines its brightest from quests like these. That's why it sucks that we only get one about every 1.5 years. Overall, Sacrifice gave me a strong reminder why I still even bother to play and follow this game. I'll be especially looking forward to the next cinematic quest, especially if they follow in the footsteps of this one. I hope you all enjoyed my first quest review. If you want more, let me know. If you want me to never do this again, also let me know. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'm the Reaper Hunter. I'll catch you all later.